that went good. So idle's good, starts right up now. So the IAC made a world of difference. You can actually see the IAC working on the gauges or on the computer. It shows you the percentage that the IAC is feeding the throttle body or pulsing or moving or whatever. So it shows you that percentage. So I actually seen percentages changing on there. So it's definitely working, and it shows you your target RPM idle is like 9 something, and it was keeping it in the 9s to 1100, you know, was holding it there. So it's working. So I'm super stoked that we just successfully wired the IAC. We have no fuel leaks. The leak is fixed on that. We have no leak in the trunk, so we had a transmission cooler line leak on there. We need to check fluid levels now that we have ran it. It got up to 190 or so, and then I kind of just left it alone, cut it off. The oil pressure got down to 40 with it up to 190 degrees. So of course, as I figured it was, but I messaged John because I'm just paranoid. And you know, of course, as your oil thins out, it's gonna drop off oil pressure. But he said as long as it comes back up when you rev it up, then you're fine. I did not watch that because I'd already cut the car off, then texted him, so I don't want to crank it right now just to check that. But I'm sure it's perfectly fine because everything looked good when he was over here on it. So yeah, we're gonna clean up this mess. I have tons of tools scattered all over the place. We're gonna clean this up and just make sure we have everything done on our to-do list, hopefully that we can do. Still don't have them brake line fittings, but they look like they'll be here tomorrow. So Harper, are you helping me? What do you got? Nothing? Are you helping me?
Baby got a boo-boo.
There's a baby's got a boo-boo out there?
Yeah.
So besides the baby that has a boo-boo out there, we're looking at why this fuel pump doesn't work.
It ain't got no gas in it.
So there's fuel in the sump. If I can shake the car, you can see it's like there's barely nothing. So pretty much right there is the edge of it. So there's like no, it's not very deep. I'm not 100% sure how far this piece sits down in there. So I'm almost curious now if maybe it has a sensor, or if it doesn't build PSI, then it cuts the fuel pump off because it's not building PSI. Maybe it can't build PSI because there's not enough fuel in there. Just brainstorming here because I don't understand why it's not building pressure. I really don't. So we're gonna put more fuel in here. We're gonna fill this up and put this back in and see if anything changes. All right, now I still don't know if this is gonna work. I really don't, but I'm curious. I'm very curious. So let's turn it on. Well, we got fuel pressure again. It does bleed off, but there's fuel pressure. Bleeds off because it's a return style. But as soon as it starts cranking over, it should come right back. Let's see. All right, let's flip it off again. We're gonna flip it back on. And then we're gonna see if she'll crank and run off of that one. As long as you got fuel in there, you'll have full fuel pressure. Can't wait to text John. I'm about to text John right now. I should record calling him. It definitely helps. And of course, this car is so stupid freaking low that you got to like work all this freaking magic just to get the freaking thing, the jack out from underneath it. Doing it with one hand is a little bit hard. So we have to put a block of wood underneath it so that we can get the big jack out. Look at that tuck. Crap is stupid. All right, so now we can get our big jack out so we can put our little jack under there, or not little jack but low profile jack, and then we can get the car down the rest of the way. All right, y'all, I think she's ready to go out of here. Turn the front end up another 1/4 of an inch. I've got some weird stuff going on in the back, measuring from the concrete to the edge of the fender. If we set the coil adjustment nuts at the same up the thread body, the same amount up the thread body, then this side is 1 inch lower than that side, like the body of the actual car. I don't know if that's in the back half part of the car that I did. I mean, I didn't do anything on a jig. I roughed it off of concrete back then. So it very well could be 100% my fault. But also when I was measuring the rear speaker deck and measuring stuff inside the car, I did discover that one side of this car is up maybe, I think 1/2 inch to 1 inch is what I was saying. No, 3/4 to 1 inch. I think I was finding on one side way back then when I did this like 2 freaking years ago, because these old cars are not necessarily true. So even though I'm pretty sure that when I did this, my rockers were the same height off the ground, and all of my bars back here were the same height off the ground, left and right. Everything was the same height off the ground, but then the body, this side was up, I think, a little higher. Even though there was no signs of collision or nothing. All the door gaps, everything looks, you know, amazing. So I don't know where the issue is, but right now I have one side turned down lower than the other side a little bit to try to get the car to sit straight. Not 100% sure how the difference is a little bit in the springs being up more on one side than the other will affect the racing aspect of the thing. I do have adjustable mounts on the car, so let me flip the light on and I'll show you. See how much that side's ran up, and then this side's way down low, and that still doesn't 100% fix the problem. I think I'm in the same bolts on the actual mounts. I need to check it when it's up on the lift, that mount right there where it mounts up to the 4-link. I think we are in the same ones. Actually, let's see here. I can see a bolt hole right down there, and then that one, I can see one bolt hole. So I think I'm up on the second. I think I'm in the same. I think I'm the same on the way the shocks are mounted up. But maybe I need to, let's see here. This side's higher, that side's lower. So maybe I need to go up 1 click, right, or 1 notch. You know, maybe I need to move this mount up. That way the springs are closer to compressed, the exact same to make up for the difference. The anti-roll bar, none of that's holding the car up or anything. So I'm gonna have to definitely figure all that stuff out. Not really 100% sure, like I said, what is going on or what the issue is. What we're gonna do, send it to Dyno. When we get it back from the Dyno, we will plot the suspension and set the bars to what we think, what John says to set them to probably. And when I do that, then I'll probably spend 2 days, if not 3 days, it's definitely 2 nights, on figuring out, you know, the ride height, what I exactly want it. We have to get the front end put back on the car. So all the fenders, the hoods, front bumper, grills, all that stuff has to go back on the front end so that we can scale it. Randy has scales, we'll weigh the car, we'll get the weight, and we'll get the percentages. I'll turn them over to John, let him know what they are, and then he'll probably tell me what he thinks the anti-squat, all that stuff should be on the rear, and then we'll plot it and set all them bars up after the dyno. I just want to make sure the dyno goes smooth with no front end on it, because I don't want to fight around the front end again. And when I put the front end on, I don't want to take it back off. Or at least I don't want to take the fenders back off, and the hood, don't want to take that back off. So yeah, that's where we're at. Quick, you know, that's basically how the weekend has turned out. I think we're good. The only thing I'm left to do is I'm gonna close this video out, and I'm gonna label my switches up there with the label maker. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and film that. But I'm gonna just put my labels on there, and then I think we'll be waiting for brake line fittings tomorrow. And we've got to get them screwed in, and hopefully we have no brake leaks. Hopefully that fixes our brake leak. And if that fixes the brakes leaking, we'll bleed them, and I'll bring the trailer home, and we will load this thing into the trailer, get it to CRC, weld up the wishbone, get the wishbone weld so that will hold on the dyno, so we don't have to worry about that. We have to weld the engine limiter at the shop, and we're probably going to go ahead and build the radiator tube at the shop, all while it's at the shop, knock all that stuff out while it's up on a lift and easy to do. Them are the only 3 things that have to be fabbed, and then we'll get it back, and we still have stuff on the checklist that we need to do, but them are the only things that are keeping us from, I think making a pass, or that's all the stuff that we have left to make a pass with. We have to weld up a bung on this overflow. It's coolant overflow. We have to do that. But dude, I think we're close, y'all. I think we're close. Let's see here. Not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that, we may be carrying it to Harold's, depending on just how the next week or 2 goes and how the dyno goes and how all that looks. Yeah, I'm not really stoked about the fuel situation. So right now it's on racing fuel. I'm going to take E85 to TKM and get him to do a safe tune on E85. I'd like to go to Harold's on E85 and on like 600 horsepower. So I'd literally like to run some laps on like 600 horse with E85. Really, really safe tune. No power in it hardly. And just run a couple laps and then have it where we have the option to maybe 700-800 on E85, maybe load a tune like that, and then maybe have some tunes where we can drop the E85 out of it and put it on the race gas, and load in the spicier tunes on the race gas where it's actually tuned for racing. So that's kind of the plans moving forward. So that's the plans. Go ahead and let me know in the comments if you have any input, if you have any questions, if you want to do anything, if you want me to go live like Tuesday night and just do a Q&A the night before the dyno, we can. If I have time, I'm feeling like I will. I'm feeling like I'll be okay, unless Mike pushes it all the way back to we're welding the night before the dyno, and I pray to God he does not do that. But yeah, y'all make sure you smash that bell button. Make sure you subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, y'all.